Hello. Can you hear me?
What's up, Eric? How you doing, man?
Hey,
My
I'm
bad.
good.
I started a meeting and I forgot I was in my other Zoom and I was messed up. So I apologize.
No worries, man.
Let me give him a few minutes to jump on in because I was messed up here, and then I'm gonna try to make you the co-host just in case.
Okay.
Just so your video is showing all the time. Hold on one second. I figure out how to do all this mess here. Hold on.
But you can hear me clearly, right?
Yeah, you're fine. Perfect.
Okay.
Is that an abacus over your right shoulder? Abacus? Where your
Right shoulder here.
yeah, bottom right shoulder. That yellow, red, and green, blue thing.
Oh, my son uses that for math.
That's what I'm saying. It's an abacus, isn't it? They do all this like.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's for super smart kids. Well, my kids will never have that.
Yeah, he likes using that better right now. So I mean, hey, it works. It works. He's a good kid though. He's actually reason I'm at home right now is because he's sick. He got sick with it's funny. He was sick 2 weeks ago. I got him healthy, send him back. He's there a week. He catches something else. Now he has this bad cough and cold, and so he's home again. And so here I am.
And
working from home.
How old is your son?
He's 5.
Oh, okay. My daughter, 5 years old, maybe about a week ago. She just, some reason, she just didn't want to get off the couch. You know, Mary wasn't at home, and I had to go to work, and my mom was taking care of the kids, and she just felt like the kids were over, and she's like, man, I'm not getting off the couch. Like my throat hurts or something. But like the next day, she was perfectly okay.
Yeah.
She was missing me because I had to go to work. Not you.
Yeah, we're pumping him full of them vitamins and giving him some stuff now. He's at that age finally where there are some medications you can give him, like over-the-counter stuff to help relieve the symptoms, which, that always sucks in the beginning because it's like everything you can't give someone who's, I think it's not until like 3 years old that you can start giving them stuff to relieve symptoms. Uh-huh. So it's always a lot better at this age because you can start giving them stuff to help.
You know what I usually do? I just try the shock method. I grab my kids, I throw them in the snow, keep them there for like 5 minutes, and then let them come back inside, and then they're like, oh, shoot, I'm fine, I kid you not, man. So like years ago, Mary was feeling super sick, and it's maybe like 12 o'clock in the morning, and it's a blizzard outside, literally blizzard. Cars are getting stuck on the road, like just nobody's out. There's plow trucks everywhere, right? So yeah, I'm like, honey, is that bad? We go to the hospital right now. She's like, okay, it's that bad. So at that time, I got an Audi, and it's 4-wheel drive, and I'm like, I'm good, and I'm gonna get to this hospital easy, And then all of a sudden, my car starts going like off the road. I'm like, oh shit. So it got stuck. Like there was no way I was getting out, right? So I'm like, Mary, stay in the car. I get out, and I'm in the mid, like halfway off the street, halfway on the street, and I'm just trying to dig the snow from under my car, like with my hands, Oh, and God. She helps. She's like, okay, I gotta help you. I'm sick, but we can't just stay here. We're stuck, So she's out there trying to help me too. Good Samaritan comes out with his like Bronco truck and with his hitch and pulls us out. I lose the underside of my Audi is like this plastic piece.
Yeah, the protection for the undercarriage. Yeah.
Anyways, we never make it to the hospital. Right? We get home. The next morning, it's like nothing ever fucking happened. Like,
She's fine.
She's fine. She's literally making snowman and rolling in the snow outside of our house. I'm like, what happened? You were dying last night, and I lost a big chunk of my car because of you. Like, what the hell? What's going on? So now we just do the shock factor. We just throw them in the snow, get better, and hopefully that works. Shock your system. Shock your system, man. You know what I mean?
I'm telling you, I am not a big fan of snow. I'm a desert dweller. I've lived in Arizona my entire life. Yeah. Visited snow many, many times, and I still don't get how you guys live in areas where snows. I can't handle it.
Listen, man, we have no choice, right? We gotta do it. Like, what are we gonna do, right? I mean, we can move, but what the hell?
Yeah, get the hell out of there. That's what you can do.
But man, I think about this often. I was like, man, what the heck are we doing here in Illinois? Like it's cold. Like 2 years ago, a year ago, it must have been a year ago. It was like negative 50 degrees. Like it was like, what the hell?
Oh my God.
The water pipes busted downstairs in my house. I was like, it was a mess, you know. But then I think about, okay, we got all 4 seasons, which is pretty cool. At least we don't have hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. Like we don't get tornadoes really in Illinois. I mean, it's maybe sometimes, but it's not like a little bit south, you know. So it's like we're okay. We can deal with it, and it's fine. And honestly, like last year when my kids and I, my girls and I, we went sledding. I literally stood at the top of the hill, and I'm like, this is the best day of my life. Like my kids going down the hill, like flying and just busting their stuff. I'm like, man, this is awesome, you know? So
yeah, absolutely.
We enjoy it, man. We enjoy it. There's good stuff and bad stuff about it, you know?
I think that it's always important that there's a lot of people who, you know, conventional wisdom always says that it's better to find things that you love about what you're already doing, you know, to make life easier, versus everybody on social media is saying, quit what you're doing and only pursue what you love. And I'm just like, well, I can understand wanting to pursue what you love, but I found it easier to find things that I can enjoy within what I'm doing so that I can be more prosperous. Because at the end of the day, you know, if it were up to me, I would want to pursue golf as a vocation.
Right.
But I ain't going to make money doing that. I ain't going to take care of my family doing that.
True.
So I found things that within what I'm doing that I love, which also allows me to have a vehicle to make a lot of money and take care of my family and live a great lifestyle.
I say that to new agents. Well, I say that to agents all the time. I was like, man, you know, maybe selling health insurance isn't the sexiest thing in the world to do, you know, but it makes you some money, right? So it gives you the means to do what you want to do, right? If you want to spend some more time with your family like I did, well, then let's make a bunch of money so that we don't have to work all the time and we can do what we love, and that's spend time with our family, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you know, at the end of the day, insurance may not be sexy, but Beamers are, and you know, Range Rovers are. They're sexy. So it's like, it's the means to an end.
Look at today, one of my friends.
This
is all I want. I told Mary, like, I don't care. You can get all the stuff you want, but when we get older, this is all I want. I want a black Lamborghini. That's all I want. I can drive around in my 2001 Ford Taurus or my 2002 Dodge Grand Caravan, but when I get older, this is all I want.
That's the payoff right there.
That's all I want. Anyways, Eric, man, I appreciate you being here, man. I totally do. It was a pleasant surprise seeing you last week on our hub training. I just want to like pick your brain, man. Do a little interview, ask you, you know, all these questions where you come up, and hopefully somebody can take a little nugget. And if for the folks who are on this and you have some questions, don't hesitate to chime in and ask some questions, man. Like I never like doing these trainings by myself because I feel like I'm babbling. I want to have conversations. So if you guys have questions, stop, ask, and let's pick Eric's brain. But first, Eric, what I like to do is I like people to relate to you, to fall in love with you, to kind of just, you know more about you, right? So tell us where you came from. Tell us what you were doing before the whole insurance thing, you know, and tell us what got you into health insurance or the Medicare sales. So where'd you come from?
Yeah, absolutely. So before I got into, well, here's how I got into insurance. I was working at a job that I did not enjoy at all. My wife was working, I think at the time, at a Paradise Bakery part-time, and we were just struggling financially. We were newly married, and we wanted to start getting on a career path, trying to do something that we really enjoy. And somebody from Primerica walks up to my wife and says, hey, you did an awesome job in customer service. You really serviced me well. I really think that I could provide you an amazing opportunity where you could just change your life. Just come to a meeting. And so, you know, they say all the right words that my young wife needed to hear to get her encouraged. And she comes home and she says, babe, let's go to this meeting. Somebody came and they want to offer me an opportunity. They said I can make 6 figures. And I'm just like, what? We're 21. And I'm just like, what? 6 figures? What? Are you serious? How do you do this? So we go to this meeting, and I'm sorry, no, we weren't 21. We were 23. We go to this meeting, and they're razzle dazzling you, and they're getting you all emotionally hyped. And I'm like, dude, this sounds like it's it. Like, we can do this. Like, they didn't really lay out what you would do. They just laid out like what happens afterwards, I guess, the money and what it can do and the prestige of having this. They had guys on there they call them regional vice presidents that had these fat rings that said they made $500,000 that year or whatever. And so everybody was just like hyped up in this meeting. And then they're like, all right, well, in order to join this club, it's going to cost this much. You need to go get licensed, blah, blah, blah. So I went ahead and started studying to get my life license. And I got into, I actually quit my job. I quit my job because I'm like, I'm going all in, Dave. Like, that's who I am, right? I'm like, I'm going all in.
Burn all the bridges. Let's just go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Quit my job, went full bore, and I basically said, okay, let's do this. I'm ready. And so they said, okay, make a list of the 25 closest people to you, and we're going to start calling and making appointments so we can go and have a review. And I'm like, well, what are we reviewing? And they're like, it doesn't matter. Just make the appointments, and we're going to go with you, and we're going to just basically review some insurance options and some mortgage options, and I guarantee you we're going to be able to help them. So I did just what they said, and we went out on a few appointments, first and foremost being my mom, then my dad, and then Jessica's parents. And of course they want to support their children, so they're like, okay, we'll get this term policy, we'll do this. So my mom refinanced her house, she got term insurance, but I hadn't gotten my license yet. I was still studying for it, and so all that commission went to them. And I'm like, what? I get nothing out of this? I was like, these are my people. Like, I should have gotten some kind of money. I got nothing out of it because I wasn't technically licensed yet, but I wasn't told that. So I got really quickly disenchanted with that, and I said, I want out of this. And immediately I started looking for other insurance options. I found United American was a health insurance company that was offering indemnity plans, and I would basically go knocking door to door to small businesses, and I would be offering indemnity plans to help the small businesses. So I had to get health license in order to do that. So I studied for 3 days, went and took the test, passed it. And that's one lesson I learned. Is like, I will not put myself in that position again. So anytime I had to take an exam, so I've gotten my health, my life, my property casualty, like I would study maybe 3-4 days and I'd go test. I don't care. Like, I cram it in, go test. Yeah. It just, I didn't want to be stuck in that position where I'm not getting paid again. So now here I am at United American doing this door to door grind, and it was all right, but the big draw to them is that they would cut you a check as soon as you turn in an application. You would go to your manager, and then they'd look it over. They'd, tally up your commission. They'd write you a written check that I could go cash. So it was fast money, which was awesome. But I just still didn't really enjoy what I was doing. But I was grinding away. And then I needed to do something, I think, more steady. And so what I ended up doing is joining University of Phoenix online. And so they had tons of huge campuses out here. And so I just started moving up the ranks. I joined as a financial counselor. And I know within 4 months, I actually moved into a management position. And then, so I was there for 2 years. I had a team of 20 agents that were under me that were, they were all finance counselors. And that was a tough gig. I don't know if anyone out there has been a finance counselor or finance manager, but you're basically like a collections agent out there trying to collect money and trying to set up people with the tuition they need so they can go to their next class. I mean, it was a tough gig. So it was at that time, though, that I had a really good friend. His name is Tegre, and he was already in the Medicare business. And he saw what I was doing, and he said, man, buddy, I feel real bad for you because I just feel like you keep selling the wrong product. And so I want you to actually try to sell a Medicare product because I think this is going to be a perfect fit for you. And what he did is he took me to a meeting at the time with a company called, I think it was HealthNet. And we were studying their dual eligible plans because the reason he wanted me to bring me in is because since I'm bilingual, he was getting a lot of leads for dual eligibles, and a lot of those dual eligibles were bilingual. So I said, let's do it. Let's try it. So I went and studied. I think it was a 2-day training course, learned about Medicare Advantage in a very quick fashion. And then I started cold calling on these leads and trying to set appointments. So what I would do is at lunchtime, I would go into my office, lock the door, and I would try to make 2 appointments at the end of my shift. So as soon as I was off at 5 o'clock, I'm driving from University of Phoenix to whatever appointments I set to go do a presentation. So my first time that I did this, I was all excited. I had 2 appointments set up. I'm driving over there, and I go and I do this amazing presentation. I feel like I killed it. I practiced this. I think this is it. I'm getting my first sale. I'm going to make some cash. And at the end, he's like, you know what, Eric, you did such an amazing job. So they're like reinforcing it. You did such an amazing job. You were so good at this. But, you know, we're actually not going to go with the plan. But instead, we want to offer you an opportunity. And they proceed to pull out this book, this presentation book, and they try to recruit me into a multi-level marketing deal. I was pissed because I already had my Primerica experience. And so now when they're trying to recruit me into another MLM, when I'm sitting here thinking I'm getting a sale, I was like, this sucks. And then I went to my next appointment. He was a no-show. So I went home sulking. I was like, this sucks. Here I go again. Like, man, this is not a good deal. And my buddy Tegre's like, Eric, please, for me, but dude, just do this again. Try again. Tomorrow, set 2 more appointments. Go on. This is horrible that this happened, but dude, just keep going. So next day I set those appointments, went out, and then for the next 10 appointments, I sold 10 in a row and got a fat paycheck. I was super excited by that. And then from there, I was consistently on a part-time basis making more money than I was on a full-time basis as a finance manager. And that's when I decided I'm going to jump all in and actually do the Medicare thing because I knew this was going to work.
Those 10 sales in a row, were they all the Medicare Advantage dual eligible plan?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, they were. They were all. So I actually got started in Medicare Advantage. That's how I got into the Medicare business. Yeah. And then when I got into the marketing side of it, that's when I learned about not only Medicare Advantage of all types of products and all different. I think we were marketing in 40 states. That was a nightmare having to learn that much stuff in that short of time. But I also learned about the Medicare supplement products, and I started selling those as well. And I found, hey, the supplements are even easier to sell. There's, it was awesome. It was an awesome experience altogether. But then in 2008 is when I made my first sale over the phone with the Medicare supplement. And that's when I got hooked.
Man, you're old, bro. You've been doing this for a long, long time.
I mean, I got it. I got my first Medicare contract in 2006. And so, 2008 is my first time selling over the phone. And that was, to me, that was it. I'm just like, wow, if I don't have to leave my office, how many more people can I see in a day? Or at least how many more people can I talk to in a day, which gives me potential higher rate of return when I can actually sell more people over the phone. And so that was the biggest thing for me. I fell in love with doing that over the phone. Then I fell in love with training agents on how to do it over the phone. And then on top of that, one of the biggest things that I'm excited about moving forward is that the Medicare Advantage arena is now evolving more so that we can do that over the phone, which for the longest time was pretty prohibitive in our ability to do so. So now I think moving into 2020, this is, to me, a very, very exciting year because not only do we keep getting to sell med subs over the phone, we're going to be selling Medicare Advantage over the phone. We sell several ancillary products over the phone, final expense. And not to knock anybody who goes kitchen table, this is my honest truth that I always tell people. The only reason that I feel I did so good with selling over the phone is because my kitchen table sale, I just did the exact same thing over the phone. I pulled out my presentation book, went over the same information. Client didn't see anything. She just heard it all over the phone. I was just good enough at explaining it that they understood it and said, sign me up. So to me, I always tell people, I don't really see much of a difference. I treat a phone sale the same way I did a kitchen table sale. I approach it the exact same way and I got the same result, a sale.
We do sales over the phone all the time. And it is like sitting in right next to the client and in the kitchen table because we turn on the camera just like this. They look at us dead in our eye and they can see that we're not lying to them and they can see our screen and they see all that stuff, right? So this is over the phone. I'm not interested in driving 2 or 3 hours to somebody's house, back and forth trying to make a sale. I can do it in 20 minutes over the computer, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me. Let's go back to what you were doing before at Phoenix. Okay. I know that sometimes I tell myself, man, I wish I would have done this sooner. I wish I would have done this at an earlier age because I would have been making a ton of money by now. Right. Mm-hmm. But when I think about it, I'm like, no, if I would have started this earlier, I would have never taken what I learned from my prior career over to this job. Right. I was in the auto industry. I was a sales manager, finance manager, working with people with challenge credit, bad credit, trying to get them financed for cars, and working there gave me the confidence to say, listen, sit down, be quiet. I'm going to show you what the options are, and then you're going to take it or you're not going to take it. It's that simple. That's what I learned. Tell me a little bit about something you learned from being a collection agent, at Phoenix, and taking it over here to the Medicare side and working with seniors, right? 65 plus.
Yeah. And it's true. I was actually having a conversation with my brother, and I was telling him, look, the reason that I'm as skilled as I am is because early on in my career, when I was trying to find what I wanted to do, I tried a lot of different things, and every job that I went to gave me an additional skill set that I kept and took with me and was able to apply somewhere else, whether it be systems, technologies. It could also be, a lot of it had to do with time management. Because in some of the jobs, like University of Phoenix, there was such a large task at hand every single day, so many students to get to, that you had no choice but to be incredibly expedient with how you approached talking and calling on everybody and working the system. So all of these things were a great building block for me to be where I am today. And even the 12 years that I put in when I was working at a marketing agency for Medicare, that, I was building someone else's company, but it was a great experience because then it gave me the confidence that I would be able to do what I'm doing today with a call center and with the university and with lead generation and marketing, because obviously you have a lot of marketing experience. So it just, to me, you can always take away things from every job or career, anything you tried. And even if you look back and say, just like you did, I wish I would have done this sooner. In the end, we still have so much time.
Oh, yeah.
We still have so much time to make a great career, to keep building even further. That's why I wasn't scared about starting all over again 2 years ago. When I left the marketing organization, I wasn't scared about starting again because I knew that we had a lot of time. I knew that I had the skills, and I knew that I was joining with great partners who believed in me and who knew what I was capable of. So to me, I just feel like we got time to still make a huge impact in this industry, and I'm excited for that.
So when I first started this business, I thought that, man, this is going to be a sales gig, and I'm actually pretty good at sales. It's not hard. Then it turned into service. You got a lot of clients on the books, and you got to touch base with them. They're always calling you, blah, blah, blah. I finally figured out that this is neither one of those two. It's not a sales business. It's not a service business. It's a marketing business, right? If you can be the best salesperson, you can be the best agent in the world, servicing and taking care of all your clients' problems and claims and all that stuff. But if you have no one to talk to, like all that stuff, all that knowledge, all that power that you have is going to go to waste, right? Coming from a marketing organization, tell us a little bit about the secrets, or what did you learn from the marketing organization? Or are you saying that it was like you were captive with another agency and you were writing business for them, or what do you mean that you were with a different marketing organization?
Yeah. So
what did you learn?
So when I started selling originally Medicare Advantage plans, I was obviously an independent agent. I was contracted. I went through an FMO. What happened is the FMO I was going through also hired me to work for him as a marketer, calling and recruiting agents for him. And so I would call, recruit agents for him and train agents for him so that they would run their business through us as their FMO. And I would service those agents as well. All the while, though, part of the agreement is I had to be allowed to keep selling as an independent agent because I wanted to continue building that. And I always felt that I was a better marketer because I was constantly selling. So I could tell people what the e-apps look like. I could tell people what the underwriters are like. And I always got to build great relationships with a lot of the movers and shakers of each carrier so that when an agent called me with a problem, I knew exactly who to go to get it fixed and get it done quick. So that brought a lot of value as me, that made me very valuable to the agent that was working with me because I was able to not only practice what I preach, but also knew who to get things done. So that's why I feel that in that position, even though I was working for somebody, I was still building so much value and such a valuable skill set that I was able to bring with me when I went off to start the call center.
So you're the one calling all my agents, right? You're the one trying to my agent. This guy named Eric. Now I know who it is. I always say no.
No,
Hey,
no.
Kelly has a question for us here. It says, how do you overcome objections with Medicare prospects that are hesitant to do a phone meeting and are really pushing you to do face-to-face? How do you bring leads now through marketing? Okay, so the first question is, how do you overcome the objection of people wanting to do face-to-face and not over the phone?
Yeah. So it's all, to me, it's all in the setup in the beginning. I think that I almost leave it like there is no choice to have a face-to-face meeting. So when I start off a phone call, I'm starting off so that I could have a conversation as quickly as possible over the phone. I always teach my agents that relatability equals trust. And so when somebody trusts you, then they're going to buy from you. So the first hurdle to get over is creating that relatability with a client. That's why as soon as I'm on the phone with them, hey, Mrs. Jones, you had requested some information on our Facebook page. I'm calling to see what exactly is it that's most concerning about the Medicare market for you. What's most concerning, so that I can try to answer those questions. And so they'll say, oh, well, I don't really know what I'm doing. There's so many choices out there. Oh, I completely understand, Mrs. Jones. There's probably, I would say, 1,000 clients now that have told us that their inbox is full. This, stacked high. Their mailbox is stacked high with just advertisement after advertisement, and it just leaves you in a position where you don't know what you're talking about, or you don't know what decision to make, and so it leaves you highly confused. Well, that's why I'm on the phone with you right now. I want to help to ease that concern and really lift that burden off your shoulders. I've been doing this for quite a long time, and so I feel like I have the majority of the answers that you're going to be looking for. So let me quickly ask, what do you currently know about the Medicare program? And then from there, I'm just gauging. So you see what I'm doing? I'm continually trying to stay in control by asking open-ended questions. I don't want to ask yes/no questions. I want to ask open-ended questions where they have to respond with some type of sentence, right? And that's really where, if you can start the conversation there, then always listen. I always tell my agents, always listen for anything that you can that's going to help you to be able to create that relatability. Listen in the background. Is there a dog barking? If you can hear a dog barking, you ask them, what kind of dog is that? Oh, you have a German Shepherd. Well, I actually have 4 dogs. They're all tiny, though. They're about all put together to the size of a German Shepherd. Mm-hmm. But, either way, what you're trying to do there is build that relatability. Oh, Eric's a dog person. Cool. Talk about the dog a little bit, then I bring them back to track and talk about Medicare, right? And then if I catch something else, or based on what she responds with, I hear another point that I can try to create more relatability, I'm going to expound on that. I'm going to ask them a question about whatever, build on that, and then bring it back to Medicare. So as long as I'm staying in control by asking the open-ended questions, the topic about them wanting me to come to their house doesn't always really have to come up, because I'm fulfilling their needs just by asking these questions and answering questions and probing and seeing what it is that's really concerning them about the Medicare program.
Do you ever do
that? What?
Yeah. Do you ever do the screen shares like this? Do you ever do screen shares with your clients like this?
So I did. I would say that maybe about 3 years ago, I would more frequently do screen shares like this. In fact, on my Medicare University, I have about 6 phone calls where I would share my screen, because I was doing it for 2 reasons. One, I wanted to help the client, but I wanted the agents to kind of have an over-the-shoulder look at what I was doing. Mm-hmm. But since starting my call center, I have not had to screen share one time. No. And it's just anymore, people are just, it's becoming more and more of the norm. People are getting more and more used to this. Life insurance is bought this way. Auto insurance is bought this way. Why not health insurance?
I mean, if you're not doing it over the phone, over the internet, then you're going to get left in the dust, right? Amazon.
Eventually, it's and like I said, and I'm not trying to knock kitchen table agents. I think that to create a level of comfort, an agent can start by going kitchen table just so they can get comfortable with the sales process. But then all you have to do is translate that and just do the same thing over the phone, and you'll still see the same result. There's some tweaks that you'll need to do so that you can keep them on the phone better, like what I mentioned earlier about how to keep asking open-ended questions so that you're controlling that conversation, and then how you're building that relatability. That relatability is so crucial to getting the result you want, which is a sale. That relatability is so crucial. So that's why people who just try to rant off on a script, which I don't mind scripts, as long as in that script you're taking time to build relatability. But if all you're doing is reading through a script and there is no relationship building, you're normally not going to see a good result. Because if you're going to be selling over the phone, they have to trust they don't know you from Adam. So they need to be able to trust you. And the only way to do that is by sharing some stuff about yourself and learning stuff about them. That's just what my experience has been.
Before the call center, or even like now, do your guys have sales scripts that you guys use, or is it just and then kind of here, let yourself shine, let your own flow go? What do you think?
It's a mix. It's a mix. So the scripts are available if they want to follow them, but I'm like, hey, if you can produce results without following a script, if all you need are bullet points, then have at it. Do the bullet point deal. But if you need, some people do phenomenal on scripts, and some people do phenomenal with bullet points. I don't want to be so rigid that I say you can only do one or the other. I want to have both available. Now, if they suck on the script side, I'm going to say, well, then let's see how you do if you just follow bullet points and you're kind of flowing on your own, and vice versa. They suck on the bullet point side. Let's see if we can get you a little more rigid following a script so that you make sure you're hitting all points and getting that sale.
You remember Coach Burt from?
Yeah.
You've been 8% twice, right? And he was at was he at both?
He's at both.
He was at both. I remember his analogy about being on the plane and going through turbulence, and this is something that I train my new agents on, is to let there be no secrets, right? Let them know that the turbulence is coming, right? When you first talk to a client, let them know exactly what the process is going to be. Let them know that we're going to talk about this. We're going to show you. We're going to do screen shares. We're going to pros and cons. And at the end of it, we're going to ask you if you want to become our client, right? That way there's no out.
Yeah.
And there's no out at the end, right? And then there's no pressure. And if you don't want to be our client, that's perfectly okay. You know, we do a little bit of training on the sales scripts and whatnot, but at the end of it, it's more for my guys is just practice indifference. Just not care, you know, just offer to help the client, give them their options, and if they want to ride with it, let's do it. If not, then they don't have to do anything they want to do, basically.
You know, I think that when it comes to any sales in general, but especially when it comes to the phone, there's a lot of people who get very fearful about having to make that phone call. And I made a big point of this when I was at 8%, that one of the biggest turning points for me, because I was in my own way for the longest time. I would want to be the know-it-all. I didn't want to be caught off guard. I didn't want somebody to ask me a question I didn't know an answer to. So I wanted to be perfect before I started making phone calls. And then even when I did, I would try to telegraph what they were going to say. I was going to try to map out the whole conversation before anybody even answered the phone. And I would do that for every single call. Do you know how much time I wasted doing that? Do you know what a waste of time that was? And so it wasn't until and the reason was I didn't want to sound stupid. And so I told my buddy, I was just like, Teg, that's how I think. That's my thought process. And he said, dude, you got to stop giving a shit. Like, just stop. Just call and be reactive. You know enough. And if you don't have an answer, you just say, you know what? I don't have an answer. Let me just quickly ask somebody. Or let me give you a call back. Whatever it has to be, but just stop caring so much. Stop trying to telegraph it. Just be responsive. And that changed everything for me.
I literally tell new agents that, listen, you guys suck right now at selling insurance. That's a guarantee. And you guys have to accept that, right? But talk to people. Fall flat on your face. Cut your teeth on some clients, because that's just a learning experience. A learning experience to not do it again, right? If you don't dive right in, that learning curve that generally goes like this and then it grows exponentially is 4 times as long if you don't dive in, right? It's going to be 4 times as long, and then finally you're going to get it, but you wasted all this time, you know?
Yeah.
Let me see. So speaking of, you're the type of person that needs to know it all to not look stupid. How long did it take you to make your first sale? Think about when you first started, when you got your AHIP, or let's say you started getting into the Medicare stuff. How long did it take you to make your first sale?
I was in the business pre-AHIP, first of all.
Oh, okay.
So no, but it's like I told you guys, it took me 2 days. I after I trained, I went on I made the phone calls, went on my first 2 appointments, failed, called the next day, went on 2 more appointments, and then the next 10 I knocked out. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to be.
You were spoon-fed the leads, I forget.
It was a good setup. It was a good setup. I mean, there were but hey, I still think that it's not that it's going to be a typical result for everybody, but here's the reality. And if you listen to the story, I wanted to do this for a little bit until I could feel like what I'm doing on the Medicare side could replace my income on my other side, right? And so I tell people that, again, going back to what you mentioned with being honest and upfront with everyone. If you're going to get into the Medicare business, don't think that you're going to get into the Medicare business and immediately be successful. Don't think that in the first year you're going to make six figures. That's normally a true projection is going to be 2 to 3 years if you're really doing the math right. And so I prepare them by saying, if you're only going to be a one-trick pony and only sell Medicare, then that's how long the curve can take. But if you learn the Medicare product and you start selling it and you've seen the results, then start to incorporate cross-selling products so that you can boost up that income even faster. Final expense is a great one with Medicare Advantage. Ancillary products like hospital indemnity, even lump sum cancer, these are great products to add in so that you can start getting more income faster. Or you could just literally have a part-time job or a full-time job and then do Medicare part-time like I was doing. I still was a full-time finance manager doing Medicare part-time, and that's just how it went. So I try to be honest with people that that's what you can expect when you're getting into the Medicare industry. Don't expect to hit the ground running and you're going to make six figures the first year. Not that it hasn't happened, but it takes normally a lot of lead investment in order for you to get to that mark.
So speaking of that, let's start getting into the details, into the marketing stuff. Okay. After you were stopped being spoon-fed, how do you generate your leads now, man? And you have a call center right now. I'm sure you have 7, 10 agents, something like that, and they all need leads. You're supporting them. How are you doing it, man? That's if we can find a way to generate our own leads, and we can scale up, right? We can turn the knob up and do whatever the F we want.
Yeah, for sure. But and even in generating your own leads, because here's the thing, there's several avenues that people can do. You can go the way where it's going to be a lot less costly by doing networking, going to different dentists' offices or doctors' offices and leaving your cards, or going to soup kitchens if you're going to be in the dual market. There's a lot of ways that you can go and drum up some lead business, but I don't know if it's enough to feed you, on a daily, or enough to feed you throughout the whole month. But my biggest thing is I'm straight into paid leads. So you have to know that you're going to have to invest, whether you're generating the lead yourself on Facebook or on YouTube, you're still going to have to invest money, whether you're doing it yourself or if you're paying someone else for the leads, right? And so that's how right now, majority of our leads are generated on Facebook. We're also generating on YouTube. We're also doing some Google AdWords, but the majority is on Facebook because it's still the best bang for your buck. It still is. If you try to go and do it on YouTube, it is going to be pricier. And it's not that it's a bad thing. Again, you have to weigh the amount of leads you're getting versus the close ratios. But in our setup, in our situation, it's just kind of what we need. Because of the volume that I need, it's easier to make the budget work with Facebook ads. And so one of the biggest things that I would say people should probably know moving forward is that branding yourself is such a big deal nowadays. There's so many people who are getting on the internet and on the social media platforms, and they're branding themselves, and it gives the people who are watching a little bit of warm and fuzzy, right? They're starting to get to know you a little bit. They're starting to understand your personality. And so if you're the one who's actually producing, it's great that they get to see you on the phone, and they get to talk, or not on the phone, they get to see you on their cell phone, I guess, when they're on social media, and they get to hear a little bit about your style and decide if they want to talk to you and get more information. So that's what I do a lot. I do personal videos that allow me to really give the audience an opportunity to know me a little bit more, know my personality. And fortunately, I've gotten great results with that.
When you say personal videos, are these personal videos geared directly to, John Doe, the client, or is it something in general that you pass on to the client? What do you mean by personal videos?
So I just mean that I get on screen, and I use my cell phone. I get on screen, and I basically I give a message to the client, right? Hey, if you feel like you're possibly overpaying for your insurance, I see. It's good to take a look and see blah blah blah, right? So it's me looking at the camera and talking to the audience, and then having a call to action. If you want to find out more information, click the form below, fill it out, and we'll contact you, or call my 800 number and we'll have someone answer and be able to help you out right away.
I see. I thought it was like more like, oh, hey, John, we just received your inquiry about health insurance or Medicare insurance, and I'm here to help you out. You know, I thought you sent like a personal video or something like that.
No. I mean, that, you know, and it's funny because that's something that I wanted to test in the future. I think that with automation the way it is, it'll be cool to eventually actually be able, when someone fills out the form, that you can automatically send them a text with a video of some kind, you know, and it's not going to I may not be able to say, hey, Mrs. Smith, but I might be able to say, hey, thanks for checking in. I'm really glad that you wanted to request more information. Here's a little bit more that you're going to find out on our phone call that we have together. That's something that I have wanted to test, and I'm pretty close to probably starting testing that. But that's the thing with the marketing, obviously, is that it's always changing. And so, yes, you need to kind of try to stay ahead of it so that, you know, which is one of the important things that anybody could do, any of you agents, is that you want to follow the people who are, I don't want to call it trend setting, but who are doing these things, right? Because that way you don't have to necessarily think of it on your own. Why reinvent the wheel? If I'm out there testing it and you're following me, then you're like, oh, well, it's working for Eric, so let's give it a shot.
It's like you're speaking out from my body. I say that all the time. I'll tell new agents, listen, I'm too stupid to make this stuff up on my own. Like, there's somebody there that has already been through the ringer, the pioneers that have the arrows in the back, right? That have the blueprint to make $500,000. I don't want to reinvent it. I don't want to do this all over again. Just tell me how to do it and I'll do it, right?
Yeah.
It's very simple. Speaking of the marketing, how much would you say, can you tell us how much you're spending in marketing a month for yourself? For you and your call center?
Yeah, for the agency, I spend right now, and it might change, but I spend right now about.
Let me borrow some money, Eric. Quit being so stingy with it. That's crazy. Okay, so let's say a new agent comes about, and independent, isn't being spoon-fed by Eric's, you know, agency. How much would they need to spend a month?
So and I always tell them, let's reverse engineer it. And I think I did this on one of my videos that I do for the private Facebook group, where you know, when I looked at it all in all with systems and lead investment, if you want to try to write, let's just say 30 apps a month at a lead cost of $20 a lead, I think it was like $6,000 or something like that. Doing it at $20 a lead. Now, if you're able to generate the leads cheaper, and again, the reason I say $20 a lead is because, well, I know a lot of vendors out there are selling Medicare leads at $20 a lead, but if you generate it yourself, depending on what kind of lead you're trying to generate, you could do it at half the cost. You could do it at $10 a lead, you know? It just depends on,
right? Because they know who they're calling, they know who they're contacting. Super higher if you do it on your own.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So exactly. So that way, when you do the follow-up, it's a lot easier. And that way you already have kind of your foot in the door to say, hey, I'm the guy you watched on the video. And so I wanted to see what is that intrigued you about the information I was providing on video. You know, good building block.
So we're the only species that can learn from other people's experiences, right? Tell us some of the things that that we would probably need to avoid in marketing. Can you think of anything? Anything that before that really, like, you fell flat on your face?
No, well, I always fall flat on my face. I mean, because, well, the reality is I might have an idea and I'm like, I'm going to try this. I want to see. And then the lead comes out to be like a $60 lead. I'm like, that didn't work, you know? And so I think that what it comes down to when you're creating your own lead on the marketing side, your ad copy is important. And the ad copy is all the words you see before the picture or the video. And then the video is also important as well. And I think that what has worked for me is less polished videos, which is why I always tell people, like, use your cell phone camera, you know, because to me, you were at 8%. So you saw, I don't know if you saw when I did the ad live on stage.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So when I did that ad live on stage,
I'm not going to hold that against you.
What was that?
You messed up the first time, but I'm not going to.
Well, but that was raw, right? That was raw and real. So, but with that, you know, that lead or that video that I did on stage, I still run that lead and I still get, I think I get like maybe $11 or $12 leads from it.
Nice. Fantastic.
You know, and that was the point I was trying to make, is that for anybody who's fearful about getting on camera, you got to get over the fear. You got to practice, whether it's just practicing. You don't have to necessarily put it on social media right now, but just practice doing videos on your cell phone and talking and making sure that you sound, I don't want to say eloquent enough, but at least that you're clear enough that people can understand you, and then start actually slowly feeding that onto your Facebook page. Doesn't even have to be an ad. It could just be putting it on your business Facebook page.
It's just like anything. It just takes practice, right? We tell our kids, listen, you can do anything. Yeah, you got to do is practice. And we got to say that to ourselves. It doesn't, we have to understand that we suck. We suck at selling insurance at the beginning. We suck at making videos at the beginning, right? If I look back at my videos, I'm like, all the grainy videos and blah, blah, blah. But it was just practice for the good ones later on down the road, right?
Yeah.
That's all it is. Okay. So you were an insurance agent, Medicare agent. You were producing your own policies. You started recruiting people. You grew an agency, right? What made you turn the corner on getting away from producing yourself and recruiting agents and having a call center?
Yeah, it's basically again, I've had, at the point that I started, I opened it in 2018. So that's 12 years of experience that I was going to bring to the table. And in the beginning, I was selling still. And I still, to this day, I still sell. It's just not my main priority. My main priority now is to turn the producers that work for me into monsters and have them create a great revenue working in my call center. And so when the opportunity was presented, again, I have the only reason, and I told you this when we were at 8% at that lunch, right? The only reason that I was able to start what I started is because I partnered up with amazing people who also have deep pockets, because I couldn't have done this on my own the way that I started. I would have had to start way slower, way smaller. But the only reason that I was able to move faster into the position is because I was partnered with some amazing people. And so because of those guys and their partnership, I was fortunate enough to be able to be in the position I'm in. And I don't try to, again, I'm not some kind of glory hog. Like, I always give credit where credit is due. I'm where I'm at because I have great partners who believed in me and who backed me and who helped me. I also have great relationship with the other managers and the other call centers that we opened up after mine. And all of us working together are what produced the results. It's not a one-man show. It's a team effort.
So you're saying I need a sugar daddy. So
yeah.
I can start the adoption paperwork now, Eric, if you want to. I mean, I can, Man.
But even then, like I'm telling you, like, a lot of people want to get into the call center business, but it's not an easy feat. Like, I mean, yes, there's a lot of call centers popping up, but a lot of those guys also have a lot of big backing as well, because it's not a cheap endeavor and it's not an easy endeavor to hit the numbers you want to hit. Everybody's going to have a different plan in terms of what they want to do. Some people want to try to break even first year. Some people want to break even year and a half. Some people want to do 2 years. Some people 4. It all depends on what their what they can stomach, I guess, and determine, because there does come a point where it eventually will become profitable, but it's never going to be right away.
I believe you 100%, because maybe a couple months ago, I met a 27-year-old kid who has a call center in Indiana. And the biggest thing is that I need the capital. I need the capital to keep this thing going. So yeah, 100%. If you can find align yourself the right way with strategic partners that maybe have a deeper pocket than you do, I mean, that would be amazing. Hey man, so let's get into this, man. Let's get into this Medicare Sales University.
Oh yeah.
Tell us more about that stuff, man. I know. So a little bit about Eric. When I met him a couple months ago, we went to 8% Nation, and we're having lunch, and in walks Eric. And I know this guy. I recognize him because I see him all over Facebook in his blue suit coat. I'm like, that's him. That's him. You sit down next to me, man. We have a great conversation, man, and you're more than willing to give out all the information. So I totally appreciate that. And then you tell us about Medicare Sales University, or Medicare Supplement University was at that time. And now it's Medicare Sales University. So tell us what that's all about, man. Tell us, how we can get into something like that. Give us more information.
Yeah, so the university definitely has evolved from when I originally put it together. Like I said, I definitely, and even in the university today, it is clear that if I were to say what's the superior product, I would say original Medicare with a supplement and a PDP. But as time goes on, I can see the evolution, and the one thing I always stand by is that the only constant is change. And so the MA products, although some of the limitations are still there in terms of network, in terms of formularies, whatever, the MA products are getting stronger and stronger. And as a result, we decided, well, we need to invest more and more into selling these type of products as well. And so on the flip side of that, with the university, I've also decided that I need to encourage and have more training around MA as well, not just MedSup. And so when I did that, along with the cross-selling modules that are in the university, I just felt like by calling it Medicare Supplement University, I'm kind of pigeonholing it. But I want people to understand, like, this is a Medicare training platform. Medicare Supplement, Original Medicare, PDP, Medicare Advantage. I want them to understand it all. And so, the university has evolved to have more modules that include that. If you want, I can show you a little bit of the back end if I can share my screen. Is that okay?
Yeah, hit the share button.
Okay, give me one sec. That's this one.
Thanks for giving me a free subscription, by the way. I appreciate it.
This guy. You can't, doesn't hurt to ask.
I know.
So,
if you don't ask, you'll never know.
Here's when you're logged in. So it's basically designed so that you'll see the course number in front. And the reason I have these is because I always believe people should do this in order to get the best results. If you do it out of order, you're going to probably have questions that pop up that could have been answered had you gone in order. So I start with the Medicare basics, and I'll go in here and show you kind of what that looks like. In the Medicare basics, I go over teaching on original Medicare. And then after teaching on that, I go into teaching about Medicare supplements and everything that I feel is important for you to know on Medicare supplements. And then I go into Medicare Advantage and teach on, and again, when I teach on Medicare Advantage, it's high level stuff, it's overview stuff, because I always say that what you're going to do is train. We're doing through AHIP and through the certifications for each carrier you contract, you're going to get more product specific knowledge and compliance knowledge. I just want you to go into it knowing what type of plans are available out there, from dual special needs plans to chronic illness plans, what low income subsidy is, MA enrollment periods, all that stuff. So I like to lay it out in a way that I feel is, and I don't know, I don't have a teaching degree, but I just feel like the way I lay it out is the way it should be taught, because it puts it in an order where you're learning what you should be learning at that point. If you skip around, then you're going to have a harder time. But after going through the basics, then the next course is going to be on selling Medicare products, which obviously goes through how to sell Medicare. And then there's a part on marketing Medicare, which teaches you different ways to actually get in front of people marketing Medicare. There's a cross-selling course that teaches you how to cross-sell several different products that are great for the senior market. And then the ongoing training is basically where I put videos of any guest coaches that I have come on to do a training. I also have over 20 hours of recorded phone calls from our sales team so that you can hear what it's like to sell many different products over the phone, from MedSup, MedAdvantage, PDPs, dental vision hearing plans, lump sum cancer plans, and even how to bundle when you sell a bundle of products together, not just one at a time. So all that stuff is on there, and then it also gets you access. If you sign up for what I call the all access course, aside from getting all these things, plus there's also a final exam. I forgot to show that. It's on page 2. The final exam, just to make sure, there's always little tests along the way to make sure you're tracking,
Make sure we're paying attention. That's all.
Yeah. And then, there's access to the private Medicare group, like I said. And so in here, I do weekly trainings where I put them in units, is what I call them. And then the weekly trainings are all in here that you can go back and watch. Or you can, just like you're doing, people can join live on the day that I'm doing the training. It also comes with access to software, CRM software, that this stuff is incredible because it's basically set up to help you with your automation. So it can automatically send out, when a lead comes in, it'll send out a text message, a ringless voicemail, and emails, and it'll do it over a sequence of days. I'll show you, see, marketing campaign. So you can see, like here, if we go into like the final expense one, it'll the first thing that happens is that it does a force call. So the lead comes in, it's going to call your cell phone and say, a lead just come in. If you want to call it, or hit one, and we'll try to reach them. And then if they don't answer, then it'll send them a ringless voicemail that you set up, and then it'll send them a text and an email and another text on the next day and another email. And so this automation helps you with higher contact rates, which, like if you look at this guy here, he has 211 new leads that came in, 47.8% or 47.8% he's made contact with either through text, email, or phone call. So it's just designed to help you get higher contact rates with your leads. But there's also some other cool stuff about it, like the ability to make funnels. So if anyone's familiar with ClickFunnels, you can now build funnels through this system, which is pretty awesome. And then you can also obviously keep track of your different leads, and you can use it just like a CRM pretty much. I don't think they officially dub it a CRM, but it pretty much has all the functionalities of one, and that comes with part of the membership to the university. So yeah, that's the university.
So for those people who have been looking for a system that does automation, it's just a plus getting Medicare training along with that system to send out automatic emails, automatic text messages, automatic ringless voicemails, right? Where it calls the client, maybe rings once, but then it hangs up and leaves a voicemail, something like that, right?
Yep.
Why did you do this, man? Why did you end up doing the university? Why?
Yeah, well, I initially built this out when I was still marketing heavily, and what I found is there were so many times where I would spend hours and hours training an agent who decided to contract with us, and then they wouldn't do anything. And so I've wasted so many hours doing that kind of training. And I said, why don't I automate this? If I just put myself on video, anybody who's brand new, I could just say, hey, here's the course, go through it. If you're serious, then, I'll see that you're actually trying to do something in terms of production. And then when I see that, I'll invest all I got into making sure that you're a monster, right? Because ultimately that's what I wanted. I wanted to see people who were serious. And so once I stopped working at that marketing organization, I still wanted to work with brokers because it's something I've been doing for so long that I've always enjoyed doing it. It's part of, I guess, the joys that I get in teaching, because I think with teaching, I'm always so happy about seeing somebody's progression as a result of something I've imparted onto them. I just get a kick out of that. I get a joy out of that. So that's why I love the working with seniors directly, because you're helping them. You're helping educate them on the healthcare system and their options, and you can save them money. I love working with agents because you're helping change their lives for the better by teaching them a system that works, and it could be incredibly lucrative for them if they can stick it out and do this. So that's ultimately why the university still exists, is because I love seeing that. I love seeing agents' growth and success, and I love it when people can say that I had just a little part of that.
I'm not going to give you that satisfaction. I've been all on my own, no help. How can we get a hold of you, man? How can we get into this Medicare Sales University? What's up?
Yeah, check out MedicareSales.net, MedicareSalesUniversity.net. Yeah, MedicareSalesUniversity.net. And then you'll see a big yellow button that says to join the university. Click here, and then yeah, you'll see that option is there. Like I said, the biggest thing is, it's an investment. People have to understand that all this stuff that I do, like it's not for fun. It's not for shits and giggles. It's like there's an investment. You have to invest in yourself in order to grow. And I actually showed it in my private group the other day. Like I have a folder on my browser of all the courses that I've invested in. There's easily 20-something courses in there that I've invested in myself personally to continually grow as a person. And that's not always Medicare courses. It's courses on insurance, courses on lead gen, courses on health stuff, courses on just a variety of things to make me an all-around better person. Because there's so many times where I'll go watch a course and learn about a different industry and say, I could do it like that in the supplement industry. And then I go and do it. So it's why I always tell people that when you look at the cost of learning, you can't look at it as a payment. You can't look at it as a hassle. You have to look at it as an investment in yourself, an investment in the number one asset, which is yourself. And the same thing goes with leads, man. When you look at leads, they're not payments. They're investments. You have to invest in leads so that you can get a return on investment, make sales, right? That's the way businesses are built. And I think that too often, especially in the insurance world, people want to rely on their FMOs to give them everything, and essentially they're not a business anymore. There has to be investments. So that's being a business. You have to have investments.
Listen, man, we've already hit an hour, and I don't want to take another hour of your time because you're too expensive, right? I am goddamn serious. If you want to adopt me and you want to let me follow, I'll make it worth your while. I trust me. I'll make it some money. Man. Eric, man, I appreciate you, man, very, very much, man. I know that when you meet somebody for the first time, you just get this feeling like, oh man, they're shysters or they're good people, and I definitely feel like you're good people, man. I do appreciate you giving me an hour of your time here, and hopefully people that want to learn more about Medicare sales and understand the sales process and learn about the marketing, man, I encourage you guys, MedicareSalesUniversity.net. Check it out. Like Eric said, it's an investment in yourself, right? You're the best thing that you can invest in, right?
Yes. Number one asset.
Man, any last words for us how to make $3 million a year, spend $80,000 a month in marketing?
Discipline. It comes down to discipline, because generating the leads, you could generate all the leads in the world, but if you don't have the discipline to call them and follow up on them, it ain't going to mean nothing. If you don't have the discipline to make sure that you're working and putting in all the hours you should so that you can continue to build, it's not going to mean nothing. It comes down to discipline.
I'm going to go do some push-ups right now. Eric, man, thanks again, man. I don't be a stranger on the hub, man. Reach out to me, man. And we're doing these hub trainings every Tuesday at 10 o'clock, and you're always welcome, man. I appreciate
it. All right. Thanks, guys. Hope it was helpful.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.